Well, I'm going to kick us off since it's 2:30. Thank you all so much for coming. My name is Dakota Dolan. I'm the Forest Resilience Projects Manager and Internship Program Manager at YVSC. And I'm really excited and proud to be sharing the work of these three wonderful interns this spring. If you're not familiar with the YVSC Internship Program, it's a 12-week professional experience for local students and young professionals to gain real experience at a local nonprofit in the environmental sector. And the program starts off with being paired, interns are paired with a YVSC staff member, and together they come up with a project that directly integrates their work with YVSC's programming. And all projects are related to sustainable initiatives within the Yampa Valley. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our Executive Director, Michelle Stewart, and she's going to say a few words before we get started with presentations.
Great. Thank you so much, Cody. Do we have sound? Hi. Can you hear?
Yes. Okay.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. And I wish so much that I could be there in the room with you. This is one of our favorite days of the year. And I want to thank everyone who's there in the room for joining us today to celebrate these final projects of what we all collectively consider to be three fantastic YVSC spring interns. Marisa, Sierra, and Liam, congratulations. It's been such a pleasure to work with you. And please don't be strangers. So once you're a YVSC intern, we hope to see more of you. So please keep in touch. And as members of the audience and those that are joining us online will soon see, our interns work closely with YVSC staff, as Cody mentioned, over the course of their 12-week term to gain firsthand experience in professional experience working in sustainability-related work, and while doing so, bring additional capacity, inspiration, commitment, and innovation to our work as an organization. Our internship program is celebrated, it is impactful, and we are really happy to have this opportunity to hear from our interns today and see how they have put together their insights and their work into a culminating, very polished final presentation. I would like to thank Moniker Foundation, who continues to be a multi-year supporter of our internship program. Our internship program offers paid internships, which is really important for the student perspective. So we asked at the outset of the program if having a paid internship versus an unpaid internship made a difference, and it did, which is probably not surprising to our interns. And so we're really pleased to be able to offer a paid internship program, which we know makes a little bit of a difference. So thank you to Moniker Foundation for their support. I would also like to take the opportunity to thank Dakota Dolan for her extraordinary leadership of the program. She took the foundations of a program and really brought in her own ideas and ways to polish and improve the quality of the program, and brings to the program just great expertise and commitment to supporting learning in really rich ways. So thank you, Cody. And I want to thank you, Sierra, Marisa, and Liam, for everything you've put into this, as well as our YVSC staff, who have served as extraordinary mentors, I know, over the course of the term. Each and every day, it's such an honor for me to be able to work with them. So thank you for your contributions to these interns, and thank you YVSC board members for joining as well. So for members of the public and for our partners and family members and friends who I hope are there, we really look forward to hearing from them. Cody, I'll turn it over to you, and we're a very friendly audience, so please, interns, know that we're just so excited to hear everything you have to say. So take a deep breath, don't be nervous, and we look forward to it. So thank you.
And with that, I would like to welcome Sierra to the platform to share her project.
Hey, hi everyone. I'm Sierra and I was the community engagement intern for this term. My project for the term centered around CMC student participation strategies. So this project was a collaboration with CMC faculty and students to create the best strategy for bolstering student engagement and climate action and advocacy. So a little about me. I grew up in Fairbanks, Alaska, where I grew a love for the outdoors. Up there to the top left, that's me with the fish in Alaska. I moved to Steamboat Springs in 2019 for their outdoor education program. And Through that program, I met a lot of awesome professors who introduced me to sustainability, and now I am on my way to graduating from the Sustainability Studies program in 2 weeks. This winter, I ski patrolled at Howelson Hill for my 2nd year, and I also did my 1st year of coaching at Winter Sports Club, Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, for those of you who aren't Steamboat. And then in the summer, I worked for Colorado Outward Bound School, their Southwest program, leading multi-day rafting expeditions. So moving on to mentors, I worked mainly with Kate Mercado during the term, who is the communications and program manager. She gave me tons of guidance throughout the whole term, and I really appreciate her for that. I also worked closely with Dakota Dolan, who is the Forest Resilience Projects Manager and Internship Program Coordinator. Michelle Stewart, the executive director for my time, or the executive director of YVSC, was an important mentor as well for my time in the internship. And she really worked hard to find a project that really fit my interests, which I really appreciate. Some partners that I worked with outside of the organization, these are organizations and people that I met. CMC students and faculty were a huge part of my project. And then I also worked with Kelly Falbo from the Sustainable Living Association in Fort Collins. And then I also met with Amelie Wild and Shea Spear from the Steamboat Springs High School Eco Club. So a little background information about my project topic. The UN has identified that youth involvement in implementing the Sustainable Development Goals is really important. On their website, they state that youth-led organizations need to be encouraged and empowered to participate in translating the 2030 agenda into local, national, and regional policy. They play a significant role in the implementation, monitoring, and review of the agenda, as well as in holding governments accountable. With political commitment and adequate resources, young people have the potential to make the most effective transformation of the world into a better place for all. In the Sustainability Council strategic plan, community engagement objective number 4 is to support, educate, and empower youth and students to be leaders and agents of change in the Yampa Valley. The priority action under this objective that I am working to advance through my project is to increase the number of events, speakers, and workshops that target and connect to youth. My project objective for the term was to collaborate with CMC to identify and address barriers to student participation in climate-related or climate action-related events, volunteer opportunities, and jobs around town to increase accessibility and engagement. My goal was to use the information I collected to create an online resource to more effectively raise awareness. I also wanted to develop recommendations for reaching CMC students more effectively. My methods were to survey the sustainability studies and ecosystem science and stewardship students, since they have applicable degrees to these sort of events that YVSC is looking to get more engagement with. I also interviewed 5 CMC professors who teach courses under these degree programs. My student questions for the survey centered around why they do or don't engage with certain opportunities around town. And then my professor questions were about obstacles to integrating opportunities into class and how to overcome them. I also asked both groups what form of communication is best and why. So my student survey findings, they revealed that the biggest barriers to participation were busy schedules, financial factors, and a lack of awareness. The biggest motivators for students to participate were opportunities that offer food, free stuff like t-shirts, hats, or stickers, extra credit, and topics that appeal to their interests. When asked about their awareness of climate action opportunities, it was a pretty even spread. A little bit more than half thought that they were very aware, and the others thought that they could have some room to grow. And then when asked what form of communication was most effective, 93% answered class announcements. Through my interviews with professors, I found that the biggest barriers to integrating community opportunities into classes was a system of syllabus creation where any events required as part of the class must be written into the syllabus a month before the class start date. Another barrier, or two barriers actually, were email overload and a lack of communication between professors, which really contributed to a lack of awareness of opportunities that were available. And professors were concerned about offering extra credit for the attendance of events outside of class time because many students have previous obligations, have a lot going on, they need to work to support themselves, or they have families at home. The motivating factors to integrating climate action events and volunteer opportunities into classes were events having topics that are applicable to the course being taught, events occurring within scheduled class time, and of course, being aware of the opportunities and understanding the importance of community involvement. So how can we respond to these barriers? My first suggestion is a web page addition. Instead of adding to the email overload that I talked about before, where professors and students often get tons of emails and it's hard for them to weed through them and find the meaningful information, I thought a consolidated web page would be really useful. Currently, different types of opportunities are divided on separate tabs on the YVSC website. So there's a different tab for volunteering and events, and then internships or jobs. So I think it'd be helpful to put all these together, and additionally, make it a single hub for all other organizations to put their different events and opportunities onto as well. That way, if a teacher is looking to integrate something into their class, they can go to this one page instead of flipping to a bunch of different organizations' websites. And I also think this would be really easy to integrate if we make it part of the community meeting structure. Since there's already a monthly community meeting, the different partners that are a part of that. I know when I was there, I saw that they shared different events and opportunities that were coming up. If they can write a quick blurb, similar to these that I wrote up in my mock webpage, then they can write that up, submit it to YVSC, and then we can post it, review it, and put it up here. So in this webpage, I have a filter section. I think it'd be really awesome to be able to filter by what type of opportunity you're looking for, when it's going to happen, and how long you want it to be. All right. The second deliverable I made was an action schedule for the organization that goes over recommended dates for a specific action, what the action is, and who to involve. The actions here center around meeting with CMC faculty, strategic times to spread awareness that align with events occurring at CMC, like the club fair, and a timeline for getting the partner collaborated webpage system up and running. My overall recommendations for more effectively engaging students has two different sides. So there's faculty and students. To harness faculty's position as a bottleneck for community information and their unique position to be able to disseminate that information with students, YVSC should establish open communication by holding 2 meetings per year with those teaching upcoming courses, and these meetings can occur at that certain time frame where they could put certain events into the syllabus and solidify that as part of their class. And I was thinking that these meetings can be aimed like at matching courses with recurring annual events. So then it doesn't have to be something that you do every single year. It could be something that maybe takes 2 years, 4 meetings to set up. And then there'll be like a recurring event that that class always goes to every year. And I also wanted to make sure open communication is established so that teachers know about the resources available to find opportunities and make those class announcements. And then to engage students more directly, my research with other organizations who effectively engage youth, along with the literature, shows that youth-led structure to events increases participation within the demographic and harnesses the social factors needed to secure engagement. So I think that's super important. Youth know what they're interested in. And also I think the social factor of, oh, my friend made this, my friend helped put this on, I'm gonna go and support them is really helpful. I also think text updates would be awesome because students don't always check their emails, but they do always have their phones. So that would be really effective. And then also getting students more students signed up for the Next Generation newsletter. I think right now we're like around 150, but I think we can do better there. And then for event marketing, offering incentives in the form of food, merchandise, and prizes is really something that a lot of the students responded with, or they responded with when we asked what would make you go. And then marketing the fun factor of events is super important, especially when students are constantly overloaded with educational material. I think having like the fun factor marketed will help increase attendance. All right, so key takeaways from my project. Classes are the ideal space to reach CMC students because it's captive audience. Professors play a crucial role in disseminating information to students. And then to overcome the equity concern, use recurring events that match with courses so that it can become part of class time. Involve students in the creation of events that target their demographic. Incentivize students to participate and innovate announcements beyond email newsletters and see if there's other avenues that you can use to market those events. The other YVSC activities that I was a part of, I created and distributed the flyers for the Earth Day live t-shirt printing event. I went to staff bowling night. I connected one of my fellow CMC students, Bryce Schiff, with the Colorado Green Business Network for his capstone project, which was to help move the company moves cycles into a more sustainable business model. And I helped brainstorm for other YVSC intern projects. My personal takeaways for the term, I was able to put myself in many situations where I had to professionally communicate, which made me more comfortable with my communication skills. Just practice for me. So that was really helpful. I did a lot of facilitating meetings, which was also really awesome to get experience with structuring and everything. I practiced organization and time management, and I gained experience listening to stakeholders and developing strategies that suit their needs. I really appreciated my experience being able to do that, like talk to different people and create the strategy, because it was really satisfying for me, and I think that's something I want to do moving forward. I also really appreciated getting to know all of you and seeing what a sustainability career really looks like. And before, I really thought that it was science or like carbon accounting. So this was really awesome to see all of the different diverse jobs y'all have. I want to acknowledge my lovely fellow interns, Marisa and Liam, who were super helpful and supportive the whole term. I also had the pleasure of meeting with Marguerite Pylon, who is a previous intern and artist board member for the Inside event. She brainstormed engagement strategies with me over coffee, and that was really helpful. And then Abby Vandergraaf helped me hone in my climate communication strategies and edited some of my writing. I am so excited to take what I learned from this term to engage youth in environmental advocacy going forward with my job with Outward Bound. So thank you all, and yeah. Are there any questions? Yeah.
Thank you, Sierra. That was so nice to see your final project, and it was great to work with you over the term. During your project, we talked a lot about how to get students involved. What do you think are some of the benefits to getting students involved and participating in more of our events or volunteer opportunities?
Being a student, anytime that I was brought out to a volunteer event, I've throughout my time at CMC, I've had a lot of jobs, so I haven't been able to bring myself to those that many times. So when a class brought me out, it was just really awesome to see what like a sustainability career looks like. Oftentimes they work with Forest Service or do conservation work. So I think that's really awesome to get hands-on experience with that and get to meet people that are doing something that you're interested in. And then CMC can just be a little bubble up there. You have everything you need, so you don't really need to leave. So bringing students that are residents up there into the community to see what's going on, just get involved and understand what is important out here in the community is really important. How many times can I say important? But yeah. Ryan?
It's not actually a question, but just to let you know that since I run a lot of these restoration projects, engaging CMC and engaging students has been something I've been wanting to dive into more and get a lot more engagement through those groups. And so your research on this is going to be helpful for that. And just for you to know that what you've done here will actually really help expand those programs. So thank you.
Awesome, that's great to hear. And I talked with Becky Edmonston and Nathan, who have all done projects with you with their classes, and they said they just rave about you and say it's an awesome experience for everyone, and all the students love it. So yeah, it's great to hear. Go ahead.
Thanks, Sierra, and I echo Ryan's point that it's been great to have students involved, and we've also understood the challenges. One of the takeaways is we need to have more events closer to campus. So you can integrate it into the school day. It's really hard to get people to go up on rabbit ears and back in one class period. So we'll have to think about that. But this is a sort of curveball, hard question for you. It was great that you started with the UN declaration and even our objective of community engagement, student engagement. It's all about advocacy and policy change and politics and agent of change. And I wonder if you came away with any thoughts on, you know, we can get students to a tree planting and they go, that was fun. But any thoughts on what it takes to get them to be thinking about the change that needs to happen if we're going to address climate as being part of this engagement? Maybe things we haven't been doing that we could try to do more of.
I think with your example with the tree planting events, I think that's a perfect opportunity where students, youth in general, they're doing something, they're probably thinking like, oh, what's the wider effect of what I'm doing? I'm planting a tree. They can understand what is happening on that scale of the habitat that they're restoring, but also I think it would be helpful for a sort of lesson, education sort of thing about why they're able to be here, like why YVSC is able to do these workshops or put these things on. And it's because they are able to get funding from sometimes government, sometimes other organizations, and that this stuff's really important in every community. And maybe just kind of getting that discussion going. Someone who is working with YVSC could try to work to like bring that out to a broader scale. Like we're a really lucky community, and that we're able to do this. Some communities aren't even like, don't have these opportunities and need these opportunities, and don't you want everyone else to, like that sort of thing. I think would be really helpful, just inspiring that thought and discussion. Yeah. Abby?
And so, thank you so much for your presentation. This was really interesting. It's been so nice to have you in the office. I was just wondering, when you were talking with CMC about some of these, like the text thing and the courses, did you get like, or any logistical information on them of like who is the person like who would be in charge of that at CMC and things like that?
Yeah, I did. And I included most of that inside that action schedule. It was way hard to fit into one slide, so I know none of you guys probably read it. But the person, her name's Lexi, and she's a student activities manager, and she releases those text updates for campus things that are going on. So I think talking to her, being like, hey, could we possibly work with you and get some students who want to sign up for our newsletter or something like that would be helpful. And then I also wrote down different dates and times for like the club fair, having a booth there, and then maybe doing it ourselves, having like, hey, do you want to sign up for text updates about what's going on? That kind of thing was what I kind of brainstormed with other teachers.
It's great. I'll have to peruse it.
Anyone else?
Michelle, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I've got a question. It was awesome. Really wonderful presentation, Sierra. So informative. And it's just such a wonderful kind of like analysis point that the creation of the syllabus itself is one of our kind of structural barriers to actually getting students to be able to, you know, throughout the year join for things. So that's just such a great recommendation for us to really kind of anticipate the timing of creating a structure of, having to submit a final syllabus. So it's really helpful. So I echo everyone has said it, but this is something that we can really use to hopefully increase, youth engagement and CMC student engagement. I will just also echo, I think I hear among so many of the other nonprofits and the entities in town that there's just such a desire and opportunity for our CMC students to engage. And so I really look forward to that, hopefully becoming more of the culture of how the Valley operates, is having strong CMC student connection to various activities as they pertain to student interests. I am curious about your thought. You mentioned that there's greater success when students are involved in helping create the events and kind of having, this cadre of students that would be able to say, what's fun? I mean, because I would say maybe staff were not the greatest source of wisdom on what could be fun. That's not to say all staff can't come up with fun ideas, but I think students would be a really good, kind of structured or, asset to bring into that. And so do you think at CMC, is there a student club that you see as kind of being the point of contact for us to use as, maybe even the group that comes in with a YVSC staff person to meet with faculty? Or what's your thought on this being an opportunity to build out a club or a structure that can help us be that ongoing, place of connection, resource to connect to as we think about shaping out events or enhancing, the ways that it becomes appealing to CMC students, in addition to finding ways to connect events and things to curriculum where possible. So thoughts there.
So with my research going out into CMC and talking with people, I found out that the sustainability club has gone kind of inactive, which is unfortunate. But I think with those clubs, there's just a lot to facilitate. There's a lot that you need to do to keep a club going. And I think YVSC could be a big supporter for the club and maybe like work with a few people that are trying to get that going again. And I think it would be really helpful to reach out to the students who were in that club and say, hey, do you want to revive this? We want to work with you. We can have one person, representative or whoever, come into YVSC once every 2 weeks or something like that and discuss like what we can do, what kind of events we can help you put on. Because a lot of, with that quote with the UN, there's so much potential for youth to be this like a youth to be an agent for change, but in order for that to happen, they need support and guidance. So I think YVSC could really be something that can motivate the sustainability club to get going again. So.
That's great. Thank you so much, and really wonderful job.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you again, Sierra, and just big shout out to you. I know there was a really large pivot kind of in the beginning of your project, kind of went a full different direction, and she completely embraced that and obviously came out with some really great suggestions and a wonderful project. And thank you all three of you did a fantastic job. I'm so proud of you all. This is my favorite day of the term. So thank you all for coming and being so well prepared and just putting so much effort into your projects. It really shows. So, and thank you all for coming, everyone virtually and in person. And that concludes our presentations. If you're here, please take a donut on your way out. And thank you again, everyone who joined virtually. I really appreciate your attendance.